A lot of fans, I know a lot of fans are young. I mean, I'm not old. I'm 30 what? How old am I? 31 years old. Frank Reich, I mean, the Panthers were were started in 1995 was the inaugural season. 95 was the first season for the Carolina Panthers. So Frank Reich was the first quarterback in like franchise history. People don't really know that. Yes, he was the coach, but he was a former quarterback. Had a long NFL career. Ended up losing his position eventually, I guess, to what, Kerry Collins probably sometime. I mean, I was 95. I was only 4 years old. I'm not going to try to date. I'm not going to try to son y'all or anything like that. But, yeah, I'm not going to try to son y'all like that. But Frank Reich was a former Panther. We know Frank Reich was part of the Eagles' Super Bowl run with Doug Peterson. 5 years in Indianapolis, winning record. He was 40-33-1 as a coach. Let me reset a little bit. Like I said, Frank Reich, he got fired. Let's start there. Frank Reich, he got fired. 5 seasons, 40-33-1 as a coach, winning record. Former Panther quarterback, known as a pretty good offensive mind. Like I said, he worked under Doug Peterson in that Super Bowl run, helped Carson Wentz put together a potential MVP season before he got hurt, helped get Nick Foles through the playoffs and win that Super Bowl. RPO specialist. I mean, he's not a terrible coach. Now, why did he get fired? I don't know. 5 different quarterbacks in 5 seasons in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck retired on him. After Andrew Luck retired, he pretty much got screwed over. Because Andrew Luck, he used to get beat up. Luck retired. He got stuck with Jacoby Brissett. Then what? Phillip Rivers for a year, they won 11 games. Not bad. They tried to get Carson Wentz because they had that rapport. We're pretty much on the cusp of a playoff berth, but they laid an egg in week 18 to the Jaguars and missed the playoffs. And then they tried to rekindle that Phillip Rivers type magic by getting another vet. So they brought in Matt Ryan, who was on the outs after the Deshaun Watson debacle in Atlanta. And you see what happened. I don't think Matt Ryan should have been benched. Now, this year, how bad the offense has been, I don't know. They thought they were a quarterback away. They tried to cheat the quarterback grind, just like Matt Rhule. They tried to. Sometimes you have to groom a young quarterback and get your own. Hey, if you're still watching this right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and the bell icon. That way you get more videos brought by Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, NFL content, Panthers content, all kind of good football stuff. So you don't want to miss anything, hit the subscribe button down below. Let's get back to it. Yes, Frank Reich has a winning record as a coach, 40-33-1. Playoff berth. Even the year that they lost Andrew Luck, they went 7-9. They're in quarterback purgatory right now. They've been in quarterback purgatory because they had a playoff caliber roster who was a quarterback away, they thought. But things just haven't worked out for them. And like I said, the sudden retirement of Andrew Luck pretty much sent everything into a frenzy. And after I saw that press conference with the Colts owner and GM when they introduced Jeff Saturday, they're not all the way there. We know Irsay has been drinking and his own drugs. He just says anything. He's an owner. Like I said, these owners do whatever they want. They're not all the way there. So I don't know how much say-so Frank Reich had on the roster with a guy like Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay. Ballard seems to be a lame duck, and Irsay seems to be Jerry Jones. Meddling in the team, talks a lot, tweets a lot. He tweets. He doesn't get in front of the mic like Jerry. He tweets. He has a Twitter where he gives updates. We have released Frank Reich. We will be starting Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. That's the type of owner that he is. Now, coming to Carolina, this is a different type of dysfunction with the owner. I hope and assume David Tepper will be stepping back a lot more if he finds somebody he can trust. But could Frank Reich potentially come to Carolina? If he doesn't get the head coaching job, let's say Wilkes does enough to get opportunity as the head coach. I don't think McAdoo will be around regardless. I just don't see McAdoo staying around. I don't see McAdoo. McAdoo wasn't Wilkes' choice. Wilkes probably doesn't want to do it his way. He didn't really get a lot of say-so in Arizona. He's going to want to get the people that he wants. He's been firing staff left and right. I do not see Steve Wilkes being nice and giving McAdoo another chance. There has been nothing that we've seen this year that shows that Ben McAdoo deserves to return. A couple good games with PJ, but besides that, everything has been not good. Now, have these been ideal quarterbacks for McAdoo? I don't think so. I think McAdoo was kind of banking on Matt Corral eventually coming soon and using Matt Corral a lot more. That didn't work out. It is what it is. But regardless, should Frank Reich be brought in as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach potentially as well? I would not be opposed to that. I floated the idea around some of my peers a couple weeks ago, just curious seeing what they thought. Nobody really gave me anything, but then it became available because I saw the writing was on the wall. After Matt Rhule got fired, I was like, Frank Reich would probably be next. Would he be potentially there? Like I was asking the question, I'm like, is he just riding that Andy Reid, Doug Peterson coattail? Anybody that works for those guys, or Sean McVay gets a shot. Maybe he's not that good of a coach. I haven't dove into Frank Reich's philosophy like that, but that much RPO, that sounds like a lot of the things that Matt Corral did in college. Developing a young quarterback in Carson Wentz through the RPO. I mean, not saying Carson Wentz and Matt Corral are the same guy. Not saying Matt Corral will be that guy. Whether the Panthers stick with Corral or draft the quarterback, is Frank the type of guy that you could give? He has experience working with young guys. Like I said, they tried to cheat the grind by getting these veteran coaches, quarterbacks, Rivers, Ryan. They had Brissett and Wentz as well. But if you gave him a quarterback to start from scratch and mold them, a former quarterback, former Panther, he's currently in North Carolina right now. They put a tweet out that said that Frank Reich is visiting his grandchildren in North Carolina. He's spending time with them, trying to take some things off, has a desire to be a head coach. It's that the guy that put that out had an interview with Frank Reich. That sounds like not a cry for help, but it sounds like hey, I'm available if you want to interview me. I think he would be at worst, he is worth a look and an interview. Because he'll have to go through, even if Wilkes gets hired, there'll still be an interview process. Obviously, Wilkes will be considered, regardless of how things go, because of the Rooney Rule. But I just don't think there's a way that Frank Reich doesn't get considered. Been to the playoffs, winning record as a head coach, experience as a Super Bowl ring as offensive coordinator. He's experienced. He's an offensive mind. We saw Doug Peterson a lot. Some people may be sour on him because of how things went left in Indy, but we saw things go left in Philly, and Doug Peterson bounced back. Is in Jacksonville. They started off kind of hot. They fizzled out as well, but we've seen these guys get other opportunities. Now, does Frank Reich come in and be the play caller as offensive coordinator, or if he becomes a coach, is he bringing in another guy? Hopefully, he doesn't bring in like Matt Nagy or anybody. Matt Nagy's he's on staff with Andy Reid or whatever now. But Frank Reich is a legit possibility. I'm under the impression that I want an offensive coach for the Panthers. I want an offensive. We've had defensive coaches for a while. Foxy, Rivera. Matt Rhule doesn't have a specialty per se, but we haven't had an offensive-minded head coach in franchise history. Let's get a guy in that maybe that knows quarterback play, that's played quarterback, that's Super Bowl caliber. I either want one of these innovative young guys that's coming off this McVay tree that can think forward, or I would love a guy that has experience as a head coach that can help stable the ship, work well with Scott Fitterer, not some toxic environment like Chris Ballard and Irsay or David Tepper and Matt Rhule. Get somebody that has some experience, that knows what they're doing, that's been to the mountaintop as a coordinator, that's been to the playoffs as a head coach, that knows the Panthers because he's been a Panther, even if it was just for a year. He has some ties to North Carolina. He would be open to considering. There's not going to be too many coaches out there considering the Panthers just because David Tepper is probably terrible to work for. The price tag will be super high because they saw what Matt Rhule got paid with no experience. And they're probably just going to be taking these interviews with them just to leverage it against something else. Frank Reich being on the rebound is a buy low scenario on a quality coach. I mean, he could fizzle out. Ron Rivera was a successful coach in Carolina, and he hasn't really done a ton in Washington besides go to the playoffs that one year. I'll say that. But Frank Reich, I mean, he checks a lot of boxes, man. He checks a lot of boxes. I would not be opposed to that. Like I said, the RPO is very intriguing. Matt Corral ran a lot of RPO in college. We could be in position to draft a young quarterback, most likely. That's something appealing to a guy like Wright, to get his guy in there that he wants to mold. Hopefully it's Bryce Young. But I just think that it's something to consider with Frank Reich. 40-33-1 as a coach, winning record, playoff background, Super Bowl pedigree. I like it. Y'all let me know if y'all like the Reichs. Y'all seem to be liking it in the comments. Y'all let me know if y'all like the potential of Frank Reich. Some people still want a defensive coach like DeMeco Ryans. That's fine. I'm under the impression that get you an offensive head coach that can think ahead and use the rules. Load up your defense with talent. That way anybody can coach. You see what the 49ers do? They've been to multiple Super Bowls. They haven't got over the mountaintop. They've been to multiple. Kyle Shanahan, as misguided and cocky as he is, he's very confident in his ability to call plays and generate offense. So he calls the offense as the head coach, puts together that system, makes the system work. And all they do is just load up on defense. Warner, Bosa, they had Buckner a little bit ago before they got rid of him. They have a lot of talent on defense. They just load up on defense. But what they have a revolving door at defensive coordinator, though, because they keep having great defense. The defense continues to outshine the offense because the talent is there. You get a defensive coach, you can get anybody to coach that defense when you have that much talent. No slight to anybody that's come out of there, especially DeMeco. I like DeMeco. But Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator there. Ended up getting a job with the Bears, and then the Broncos. Because of his style, he coached a good defense there. Robert Saleh. They had a lot of talent. He ended up parlaying that into a job in New York, doing a pretty decent job there. Now DeMeco Ryans, he put his own little spin on the defense. I can't give all the credit to the prior coaches, but with all that talent, it's hard not to be productive. Playing defense is harder in the NFL than offense. The rules are slanted towards the offense. So you load up on talent and let somebody coach it, and then you do your thing on offense. I think it's a good recipe. You guys let me know how y'all feel about it, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Okay? My name is Aaron Duncan. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more NFL content and Panthers content, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon, or check out one of these videos on the screen, click around, and check out the next one in the series. All right? I'll see you in the next video. Peace.